Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This what I tell 'em. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another session on the Success Chronicles. And today I'm really excited about the couple that we have today. We're going to do a relationship series, part of the relationship series. And today we have with us Coach Jonathan Wallace and his wife, Ashley Wallace. And man, just great people. Been blessed and fortunate to achieve some really neat things in life. And so, you know, what they do, they're making a huge positive difference. I'm so thankful, first off, to have you guys on with the Success Chronicles.
Man, Chip, thanks again for having us. And I'm excited to be able to have my better half with me, man. Let's be able to tackle some questions.
Well, let's get it. Let's get after it. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right. So what I want to do first off is just individually have each of you guys kind of just tell us where you're from and what it was like growing up for you.
You go first.
You want, okay. All right. Well, I'm from a small town in Phoenix City, Alabama, and was raised by two God-fearing, God-loving people. And man, I'm just fortunate to be able to be where I am today because of those wonderful people, my dad, Anthony, and my mom, Michelle. And man, just being able to see their relationship through my journey and through my time. It wasn't always perfect, but I will say that they both were very forgiving. Being able to see them work through their issues together. It wasn't a you and or me type of relationship. It was an us and we type of relationship.
Yeah.
And how they were able to, put God first in everything. But the examples that they set for me and my siblings growing up, I must say that I'm grateful for, just to be able to see what a marriage is supposed to look like. And I'm fortunate, I'm blessed to be able to have that. I know that that's not something that everyone is able to have or be able to see. But even through the goodness, I'm glad that I was able to see just how they were able to navigate through the issues, the problems, the arguments, and still be able to love each other and forgive each other through it all. So that's me.
Okay.
I am originally from Southern California, grew up in Orange County, so far away from home when I went to Auburn. But I grew up in a very close family. My family is very close. My nationality, I am Mexican, so I like to say that my parents are blue-collar workers. They now own their own business of private investigations, but that's how they met. They worked undercover narcotics for the Los Angeles Police Department.
Wow.
20 years. And so very disciplined household.
I'm sure.
You did not get away with anything in my house, which I was thankful for. They definitely set me and my siblings straight. I have two older sisters and a younger brother, so kind of in the middle growing up. And also kind of had an oldest role because we have a bit of an age gap too with my older sisters. But just really thankful for my parents. They certainly weren't perfect. Grew up in a Christian household. Being Mexican, my grandparents were Catholic, but my parents made the decision to get married in a Christian church and teach that to me and my siblings. And I went to a private high school. I went to public until high school. So got to learn more about religion and faith. And that really helped me going into college. So really close family, and I'm really blessed to have them. That's very much it. Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. Just hearing both of you guys talk about how you were raised. I think, in today's society, that's definitely kind of not the norm, to be blessed and fortunate as you are. But, personally, I kind of know a little bit about you guys' background and your successful sports and all of those things. But if you don't mind kind of sharing with the audience, each of you, where you are now as far as with your careers and some of the things that you've been blessed to do with your sports careers. Like I know both of you talked about, from high school to college, but you didn't talk about your successful sports. I'm not going to let you get off without saying something about that. Okay. Y'all just too good to not do that.
It's on you.
It's on me. Okay. I played soccer. I was a two-sport athlete until about my sophomore year of high school. I played soccer and volleyball, both competitively at the highest levels of my sport. Made the decision because they were both in the same season, and going to practices back to back was just a lot. So I played soccer longer, loved it longer. So I ended up choosing that. And that was around the time I was getting looked at. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Mexican, and I applied for dual citizenship because the Mexican national team was recruiting me at the time to come out to national camp. So I played about 5 years with the Mexican national team, went to 220 World Cups with them, have a few full caps with the full team as well. And that also helped me in my recruitment for college soccer. That was my first goal, was to play college soccer and then hopefully play whoever called me first, USA or Mexico. Mexico called me first, so I stayed loyal and was very thankful for my time with the Mexican Federation. And that's just kind of my background. I played soccer at Auburn, committed to them, was the first California kid to commit to them, and they had a California girl in every class after that. So all the way from Southern Orange County, committed to Auburn, Alabama. Really just fell in love with the campus, the family atmosphere, everything about the university. Had everything I wanted on my list. Big sports program, good academics, and just feeling like I had a family, a second home away from home, since I was going to be far. And I was used to traveling, so it wasn't like a really crazy jump for me. Some people think it's crazy to go that far for college, but it was an easy transition for me. So that's
awesome.
That's hard to go after.
Humble. His resume is long.
Sports has been very instrumental in my family. My dad and his brothers, they all were involved in athletics. My dad, he ran track, he played football. My mom, she played basketball. She was a majorette. So the genetics were definitely there from my parents. And, I had to look up to two older brothers that played football and ran track and played basketball. And my sister, I'm the youngest, so my sister, she ran track, she played basketball, and so I really had some footsteps to step into.
You had to fill some big shoes.
No doubt. So for me, I played football the longest, but also got involved in basketball as well, and did basketball in the summer, did football in the fall, did travel basketball, and did that all the way up throughout high school. And, was fortunate to be able to set some pretty good records back in high school. Had a lot of fun, won a lot of football games, and for me, I would like to say I was a pretty good athlete. I played quarterback with football, and I really fell in love with just being in charge, being a leader in the field, but most importantly, just being a great teammate. And that opportunity allowed me to sign with Auburn as well, to go and play quarterback there. And in my first year, wasn't the best season we had. But I will say that, as a team, we were able to learn a lot. And I actually got to start the last 4 games of my freshman year. And throughout the rest of my career, I found myself in different areas of the sport that probably wasn't what I foresaw, but like I said, I wanted to be the best teammate I could be, and was able to go and play on special teams and provide, support in other positions, and a lot of fun doing it, man. And then my senior year, got to become the senior captain and for the team, and man, we had some wonderful memories. I was a part of a national runner-up national championship team back in 2013, and won an SEC championship. And once I finished up, I decided to go into coaching, and it was something that I felt even from the time I was playing that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to give back. I always wanted to be a part of the sport, and man, it was a very, very fun time being able to just learn the other side of it. And what it truly means to be a coach, because you're just more than you're more than just what you do on the field. You're a mentor in a lot of different ways. To some, you're looked up to as a father, and so there's a lot of responsibility when it comes to the coaching side of it, because you fill so many voids for young men. And I was just I jumped right into it, and I loved it ever since. To just be able to provide that support and love and care to those guys, something that they need, that we all need. And I stayed on as a graduate assistant for 2 years, worked with the quarterbacks at Auburn, worked with the wide receivers, had my hand in special teams quite a bit, and just enjoyed every moment. Had a lot of success. We ventured to go to another SEC championship game in my second year as a grad assistant. I left from there and took my first full-time job at Bethel University, joined up with Brett Dearman, who actually was an analyst at Auburn during my time as a player. And so he gave me my first job, and I got to coach the wide receivers with him. And we went on and set a lot of records at Bethel. We led the country in points per game. We had 5 points per game, and that's at every level: FBS, FCS, Division II, Division III, NAIA. You name it, we led it. And we had a lot of fun, changed a lot of lives. And I would say the most memorable thing, I know I'm a little long-winded here, but the most memorable thing from that first year is we were able to baptize some players. Gosh, man, that was probably the most memorable thing that I'll always keep with me throughout my coaching career, is being able to have the opportunity to be able to see guys in their spiritual walks, be able to reach that level of faithfulness and commitment. And my time there at Bethel was a lot of fun. And left from there and got an opportunity to go to the Air Force Academy. Got to coach with Mr. Troy Calhoun there. Very respected man, and he's done a phenomenal job there, and missed all the coaches there and players, and had a lot of fun there. We had a lot of success there. We won 11 games and beat a Pac-12 team in the Cheez-It Bowl. And, man, it was a lot of fun. Came down to the wire, and we had a lot of success in that season. And, man, God called me to come here to Kansas, and this is my first venture as a coordinator, as a special teams coordinator here and coaching the running backs. And I've just been able to, no matter what position or what I'm called to do, I truly believe that you venture to be the best that you can be wherever you are. And, God will be able to set paths for you, some that you don't even see are coming, and some that will happen a lot sooner than you think. And so it's just a matter of being prepared and ready for those opportunities. And I've enjoyed every moment here at Kansas.
That's awesome.
Quick shout out to mentioned won the first SEC championship at Auburn soccer too. So in 2011. So shout out to my girls. Since he was in his little resume there, I was like, oh, I forgot to mention that.
Well,
yes.
like I said, I knew some of those things, but I had to make sure that I gave you guys an opportunity to kind of talk about that, because I think it's so neat in the fact of making you who you are and how you do what you do.
Sure.
And that kind of bleeds over into the relationship aspect of it. I think you talked about Coach a couple of times, about being a teammate, being unselfish, just doing my part and giving all that I can do for that. You talked about, Ashley, about, traveling and putting myself in different situations and being loyal, to people. And so I think, all of those things are great traits that we learn, I guess, disciplines that are transferable skills, if you will.
No doubt.
Those are all, things that we learn that we can carry over into our life to help others. And then also in our relationships. So if you guys, so how did you guys meet?
Yeah, so we actually had a class together
At Auburn.
At Auburn. I want to say, what was it? Was it world literature?
It was.
Pretty sharp on that. And we actually, in the time that we met, it was during a time where, she actually had just had ACL surgery. So she hit a roadblock in the midst of what she had going on athletically, which, was, I imagine, probably rocked her world.
It was my senior year too. So right at the start of my senior season, I tore my ACL.
Yeah. And even myself, I had just lost out. As I was mentioning, I had just lost out on winning the quarterback position. And so we were both in areas of our life where we probably weren't at our highest. We were actually at our lowest. And we had, like I said, we had a world literature class together. And she was needing help, and I had a bunch of notes and everything. And so we got together and studied a few times, with some other classmates, and just sort of built our relationship as friends. And, and even for myself, I was not pursuant of anyone at the time, but just I saw something special in her, and just wanted to continue to build a relationship, as friends. And I invited her. I was very involved in FCA at the time, and as part of being in FCA, you're always looking to recruit and find other athletes that have a desire, and maybe they aren't as strong, or maybe they want some guidance in just their relationship with Christ. And so I invited her one time, and she loved it. She kept coming, and that's sort of how our friendship sparked at our time in college.
No better way to invite them to church. I like that. Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been together?
Gosh, it's been 6 years now.
Yeah, we've been married for 3 years. Yeah. We've been together for 6.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Good stuff. All right, so let's dive into the relationship stuff. Okay, so what are 3 important things that you guys feel that it takes to have a successful relationship?
I think that when you talk about relationships, I think the best way to describe that is just, what does your relationship look like with Christ? And that's really the best way that I like to view it. And I know for myself, what is Christ been able to do for me? And Christ has done everything for me. Christ hasn't, asked me to do anything back, but it's just been so giving. Jesus was such a giving person in his pursuance of people. And I just think that for me, when it comes to relationships, what can I give to that person? That can positively influence that person, that can positively impact that person. And, because it can't just be anything that you're willing to give. There has to be some parameters around that. And, I really like to say that, that's something that's truly important. It's just, what does your relationship look like with Christ first? before you try to pursue a relationship with others, because there's going to be times of trouble. There's going to be issues. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be fights. There's going to be all types of things. And if you don't know who to turn your eyes to in the midst of those troubles, and if you can't find the guidance that you need, it's going to be true. I really do think it's going to be challenging, and I think that's a lot of relationships fall out is when those troubling times come of what to do next.
Yeah, and just like I think too, where you see, especially like these kids with all this social media and everything's like right then and there at their fingertips, dating apps, all those things. Is I think too, it's easy just bouncing off what he said that people get it the other way around. They're looking to find that person first and then work on themselves. When really, and like he said, we met at a time where we were both going through things individually. And we didn't pursue each other first. Like we continued to grow as individuals. And then, that's friendship grew. We wanted to be in a relationship. Then that's how that relationship was able to be nurtured and that trust was there.
Then he invited you to church.
And he invited me to church. Listen up, ladies. He invited me to church too. So, but yeah, definitely. And I think too, it's not just at the beginning, but throughout your relationship of just keeping Christ first and each other. I think too that it's a struggle. Like our individual relationship in our marriage too, like keeping Christ first. That's an everyday battle. It's not something that comes easily. We're naturally selfish beings. So, but just working at that every day, and it's a lot of fun to work at it every day with, your best friend. So
I love that. I love both of those points that y'all gave. I think it's so, so crucial. Yes, to have everything you do first be Christ-like, faith-based. You can't go wrong with that, and then, secondly, just striving to be the best version of myself for that person that I'm involved with. I mean, and that goes back to, like I talked about, the whole team, concept, like we're a team, I want to be the best that I can be, for you, I want to be the best. And then when we can do that and come together, oh man, watch out. We're winning championships and playing on national teams and all those kind of things.
No doubt.
In life,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. Any other tips you have that you think that would be great for, that are important to have a successful relationship?
Yes, communication. Caps.
And let me write that down in all caps.
Yeah, all caps. Communication. But in all seriousness, being intentional with that time you communicate. I think we've been in seasons where, married 3 years, we've moved every year.
Still very young, still learning.
Learning. But, you can get caught, like I said, life, things happen, and we're not the same people we were 6 years ago. I know that, like, we've continued to grow and change every year. So I think being intentional with that time you are communicating, being honest with each other through that communication, but also in a loving way too. I think it's just very important to have that, because we can get into almost a routine. It's easy for that to happen. And it's easy for, that's when, arguments are going to happen, but he can't read my mind. And even though I think all the time, right? But, I can't read his mind either. So, it's just being intentional with that and communicating, I think, is another huge one.
Yeah. And I expound upon that too is, when it comes to communication, how are we communicating? The transparency in that communication is so key. It's like Ashley was saying, that you can't assume, not make assumptions in communication. Whether those are actions, whether those are words that are being said, the tone in which they're being said. It's so prevalent and it's so important, in the way that we communicate with each other. Because I may in the moment be extremely upset about something, but I can't take all of that tension and frustration and lash out against her, because that's just communicating. No, there's a way about going about it, on both the giving and the receiving end of it.
Yeah.
You both have to be in a right state of mind. You both need to be able to listen first to one another. And I just think that those things are so important, so key to being able to have just complete communication with each other. And that's not something that we just picked up on and ran with. It's work that you put into it.
You live and learn that.
It's learning from other couples, learning from the word. It's continuously building, and working on our relationship throughout our time together. You could say that we're still in the early phase of our marriage, but even it being this early, there's so many different things that we have struggled with or through with each other to be able to make it to these 3 years. And so it's just so important to be able to not just have a covenant with each other, but also having others other couples that I would say that you can join up with and be able to ask each other questions, and obviously couples that you trust and that you can lean on to be honest with you, to be transparent with you, to be able to ask you the hard questions, both as individuals but also as a couple as well, of having those accountability partners in place, because there's going to be so many things that come up in your relationship, but also as individuals that you need guidance on. You need to be pushed in areas that make you uncomfortable. And that's just so important when it comes to relationships. So
both of y'all hit on some great things right there. And I want to share this with you, this tip that I learned. So in my second book is Effective Conversation to Ignite Relationships. And I've co-authored with Dr. Ali Reed, and I did some research, and I asked, people, in relationships, and not just, husband and wife work, but like work, like all types of relationships. I did some research, and I asked people, what are some things that, you do that are effective? And so there's this one couple that shared their rating scale. I wanted to make sure I share that with you guys. And so the scale is 1 to 10, and 10 being, hey, don't do that.
No doubt.
Hey, just simple, hey, don't do that. or 1 being, not an issue at all, right? So, and the example was, she talked about, it was crumbs on the table. The lady said, so for her, like crumbs on the table was like an 8 or a 9, right? Like after dinner. For the husband, it's like a 2. He's like, man, I just want to eat the food. You just crumbs on the table. Everybody know, all of that. I'll just eat the food and go,
Yeah.
And so what it allowed them to do is have a rating scale where she can say, they can be open and honest. Hey, it's as simple as, hey, that's like a 9 for me. He's like, hey, that's like a 1 for me. So now what that does is, now just simple in those seconds, they've communicated with each other openly and honestly about something that, like, he didn't have a clue that it was an issue. You know what I'm saying? It's a big issue for her. So now that allows him to. So now he was like, hey, I got it. I got the crumbs. Like that's my. I got this. So now, anytime they're done eating, he's the crumb on the table guy. He does it. That shows her. That shows her that he's willing to make an effort. It's better for her, and then that shows her that, man, like, he's making the effort, and that's where you get to come together, and that effort counts, right?
That's it. That's exactly it, man.
And
that's good stuff.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that I shared that with you guys.
That's good.
You know, like my wife was like Chip, that's a 12. Like, hey baby, like it stopped at 10, right? Like I thought the scale stopped at 10. But anyway, any other advice that you guys have for couples before we get you off, just in things and working through relationships?
Is there anything else you want to hit on?
Kind of two things. Just along with communication, I think a big part is just forgiveness. I think that both men and women struggle with pride in their own way. And pride is the number one thing to destroy relationships, in my opinion, along with a lot of other things. But it's definitely up there. And I think just having that open heart when it's tough to forgive. And it goes hand in hand with the next thing is just, you hear a lot like, oh, I love this person, but like, what does loving someone actually mean? And, I think we even learned this more, or was touched on, and we did like a premarital small group, and it was really good for us. And just that love is an action. It's not a feeling. There's not going to be sparks every day. You're not going to, and there may be times where we get on each other's nerves, but like, you know what, like I'm going to show up for that person anyways, he's going to, whether it's like acts of service or whatever your love language is just still being there and showing up for that person and loving them through your actions. You may not feel like it at the time, but I think it's important to do, like, that's what love is showing up even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, wait, I said love. I love that. And that's an action, man.
There you go.
And it's so true because I think that goes along the same lines of how I was talking about the effort with the rating scale. I mean, if you're making the effort and you're putting in the actions and they're pure intentions, because none of us are perfect. We're going to all make mistakes. But in the making the mistakes, in the pedaling, are you giving maximum effort? Are your actions pure? Are they, like, man, I'm trying. Like I may have messed it up, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. Well, again, I want to say thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing those nuggets about relationships. And I wish you guys continued success and with the things that you have going on and coming up. We didn't talk about the baby.
Yeah. We're expecting in October, man. And
that's awesome, man.
We're waiting to find out the gender. So it's been hard trying to keep it in.
I know.
It's hard, but we're managing through it, and it's exciting, man.
We're definitely counting down.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, again, I want to say thank you guys, and I wish you continued success in everything that you have going on.
Thank you,
Chip. Thanks again, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you guys for checking out this relationship series session. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.